here's Aggie again, coming to you from Broadcast Team Alpha with the Paranormal World Show. And we're coming to you on 44 different platforms around the world, and one of them is Conscious Awakening Network. You got to go over and visit with them. They have close to 50 different shows over there that talks about all the things that we want to know about. You find them at consciousawakeningnetwork.org and go have a look. I think you'll enjoy it there. I do. And if you are watching us on YouTube right now, that's the place to be, because that's the only place where we can monitor the chat room and also be part of that. So you can maybe engage in conversations with people, ask questions and so on, and find answers. So I want to talk a little bit about who is actually ultimately responsible for everything that happens in your life and around you everywhere. Is it you, or is it something or someone else? What about your brother-in-law? If he steals $1,000 from you, is he responsible or you responsible? Put that question in the back of your mind and mull it over a little bit. And by the time you get to the end of this video, I think you will have worked out an answer for yourself. Because for several thousand years, spiritual leaders have told us we are born into this place with free will, and we are responsible for our lives. Is that totally true, do you think? Well, looking back, there is so many bad things that happens to us, and all those bad things, the cancer we got, and the car accident, the bankruptcies, and hemorrhoids, and divorce, we can't be responsible for all of that, can we? Yeah, well, think of it this way. The government they did it to us, and the lawyers, the thieves in the lawyer ranks, they are doing it to us. Of course, it's not us, you know that, right? Or is it? Um, yeah, let's say that we are born with free will. Is that free will to do everything we want to do here? Or was it free will somewhere else that made a decision and then brought that decision with us coming here? Do we really have free will? That's a good question, and I don't think a lot of people think about it a lot, but we probably should. Maybe it is different outside of the physical, where we are before we take on this body and come here to live out this lifetime, and having all those experiences, the good ones and the bad ones, and everything that we observe. It is kind of like a learning experience. You see, souls are hungry for experiences. From my experience, and I've had some out of body experiences that explain this to me, and that is souls are hungry for experiences, but there's not necessarily good experiences or bad experiences. They are just experience. Because here we have pain, we have emotional agony and things like that outside of the physical and spiritual form with consciousness only. We don't have that. There's no pain. So to them, whatever happens here is not necessarily bad, it's just another experience. What if you, outside of the physical, before you took on the body, you made some decisions about things that you're going to do and go through, and then you come here and do that? Both the garbage that is happening and the good things, the wonderful things that we have. See, the souls have no physical body, so they cannot have physical experiences. So they create this body, and for us to be their outlet and inlet so they can learn from what we experiences to gain more spiritual capacity. That's the way it looks to me. And like I said, when there's no good or bad souls, it only becomes learning experiences. What if we have actually free will outside of the physical? And we decide on what we are going to do. But there's a process for this. And in fact, I remember what happened when I chose this life situation, this lifetime. Maybe explaining that could give you a little bit of an idea of what you may be going through sometime in the future. There are different ways that this happens, so this may not be the only one, but there are other ways too. But I found myself standing around a round table with several other tall entities in white robes and gold. I think they had gold on their cuffs, but they were very spiritual looking. They called themselves the guardians of the soul. And there was a life review, but that's what was in that one made me decide on something that I was going to do here. And I was there, I was looking into the top of the table. It was kind of a fluid top that was moving around, and there were images. There were people and situations in there that I observed. And I was shown, I believe it was 3 different life situations. And I observed them, and I had to choose. I said I had to choose. I did choose. I am not so sure if I had to. I'm not so sure if that was a demand, because that would violate again free will. So I chose one of the life situations I saw in that pool on top of the table. I chose one, evidently this one, because here I am. And then right after that, it was a very short time after that, I was shipped off. And the last thing I remember, and that I remember very clearly, and that was that it was kind of a heavy feeling. And it was like, okay, kind of like work. I better get down there and do it. So there was no real excitement about it, but there were no fear or anything like that. It was kind of like going to work, going on a journey. And that's the last thing I remember of that particular meeting. Now, there are other people that have had also memories of the life review and the choice of the next life situation. And they may be a little different. They may be in some of them, or one of them, I think of, they say they were kind of like up against a wall and they kind of like a screen on a movie theater. They saw the images, but they were three-dimensionals and they could walk around and look at them from several sides. And they could then review and also make choices on the basis of what they saw. And some of them, it was very quick. The choice was, they had a choice, they saw it, made a decision, and bingo, they were on their way. So it could be different for different people, but this kind of situation with a choice like this, you probably will find yourself doing. And it could be an interesting one. If you remember this video, and when you find yourself there, tell yourself right there, when you are done with your choice, tell yourself, I will never forget. You might end up taking the memory with you so you could remember what happened before you were born. Little kids, often up to the age of 1 or 2, little kids, they can remember where they came from on the other side. Many of them do remember that. So yes, there is this review and a choice of what to do later. If you choose not to take on a body form in physical form, there are other jobs for you. You could become a guide for someone, or you could be born into another civilization in another world, in another solar system, another galaxy, in a different species. You could become a gray or another species, most likely of higher consciousness, because what we have learned here, we have earned that higher consciousness. So think about that. We have free will, but the free will is exercised at that meeting when you choose your life situation, the lifetime. That's when you engage your free will and you choose everything that you're going to do and go through and live the life of. So when you come here, there are certain things that is really hard to get around because you agreed to it, became a life contract. And there are unseen influences on the other side helping to put the situations that you agreed to in place. They manipulate other entities, people in your life situation to make sure that you end up doing what you agreed to come here and do, so you could have the experience and then you take that experience with you, so your consciousness and the soul will learn from it. And we are, through the consciousness, we are part of what you call God, the universal mind. So you could say through us, God is learning. So if this gave you a little bit of an idea of what's going on the other side of the veil, I hope so, because very few of us go around and think about death and what's after very much. We're too busy living our life. But while we are here, we can also plan the afterlife. Because remember, science is showing us we live in a mind-created universe. Our mind here is creating everything you see around you. So it is all an illusion of what we think it is. That illusion extends up into higher vibration also. So if you here decide that in my next lifetime, I will be living on a huge spaceship, a spaceship that is thousands of miles long, and that everybody that live there, that is their planet. Most of them are never set foot on a real planet like this one. They are born on the ship, they live on the ship, and they die on the ship. You could decide here that that is what I want to experience the next time. You may be able to carry that through. Or you could decide here that I am a spiritual being. I want to work with other spiritual beings on the other side. You have some choices. If you decide on something here, you may be able to carry that through. That is what I was told. But very few people think much like that. Planning ahead is a good thing, you know. So if you have questions on something like this, ask the questions down below in the text down there. Ask the questions and we can communicate. If I think I have an answer or I have an idea on the basis of your question, I will tell you. If I don't know, I'll tell you that too. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video and watch out for the next one. And until the next video, be good to each other. And if you like this, please subscribe.